Look at this beauty. Do you see this gorgeousness right here? Look at that. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa if you're new here. For today's video, it's just going to be a quick moss pole extension, and I'm going to give you an update on my Monstera Adansonii pole. As you can see, it's doing well. It's actually put out quite a bit of new growth since I did that video. I will link that video up here for you guys if you have not seen me chop this plant. So the backstory, I'll just go into a little bit of detail. So this plant was started on plastic, and you can kind of see where I encapsulated the plastic inside of the metal. And the reason why I switched was for more stability of the pole, because plastic is very wobbly and it wasn't sturdy. Even though it has a metal surrounding, I don't want to put too much weight on top, just because I am going to be chopping this pole again once it kind of reaches, I think, the top of the extension I'm going to be adding on, and getting rid of this entire plastic base. So it's probably plastic here down. I just love this plant so much. It definitely went through some shock. It lost a few leaves. I think like 3 leaves yellowed off and died. And this pole is 3 vines. So this middle one is the tallest one. And there's one on this side and there's one on the other side. So it doesn't have that much room right here. And I want to go ahead and extend it because it is pushing another new leaf right here that you can see. And I want to go ahead and extend it before it grows too much longer. So yeah, that is the plan. You can see some like third fenestrations coming in on this top leaf. They're tiny little holes, but you can kind of see them poking out, and the leaf has sized up quite nicely. The main vine here, and there is another vine right here that is growing. It hasn't sized up too much since the chop, but it is growing up. And the other vine here seems to have taken a bit of a hit. This one has always had more fenestrations, but it hasn't really grown too much yet. So that one is like way down here. So hopefully I can get it to start climbing and like fill out the side of this before I end up having to chop this pole again, because the plan is to keep as many vines as possible before I do like a chop. So this one will definitely, you know, grow and catch up before I have to chop it. I'm just not sure about that one. And you can see the new aerial roots pushing into the moss there. This is where the plastic and the wire that I encapsulated with the pole. On the back, I used a stake. It's close to the pole as I could get it there on the bottom. Since I already have a stake, normally you would need a stake when you go to extend. So since this is already here, I don't need to add a stake. And the only thing I do is just zip tie it right here. You can see I zip tie it to the pole itself so that the stake is secure and it doesn't move, and I just get it down and snug against the pole as possible. This is the pole that I'm going to be using. It is about 2 feet. It's not like my standard 3-foot one, just because that bottom part is plastic and I want to provide, you know, some extension before I go to chop it again. I'm going to remove these 2 zip ties so that I can slide this down over top. I will zip tie it to the pole and to the stake to the back. I think it will be pretty sturdy because I do have the wire going into the bottom of the pot with the plastic. So yeah, I'm gonna hook you back up here and we'll get to extending this guy. Right here where I had zip tied this when I pre-made this pole, I'm just gonna undo a couple of these zip ties. I think I'd only need to undo 2 of them. I'll bring this a little closer so you can see. And so basically this is just gonna slide over top. You might have to like bend it out a little bit. Basically just like running the wire over top of the other wire. Careful not to pinch yourself. My other one slid on a lot easier, but I think the metal is just a little not conforming right. You just have to like push it down over it, but it'll eventually slide all the way down. It probably would help if I made this wider and then I'd be able to slide it on top easier, you know? course, this one wants to be a pain in the butt for when I'm actually filming it. And you want to be careful too that if your plant has climbed up higher, you just have to be careful because you don't want this to go down too low and cut the new growth. So you just have to be mindful when you're extending to not like hurt the new growth. And I have to slide this down a little bit more because there's still some space. I actually need to, I'm gonna remove one more zip tie here. Probably should have just made this a little wider from the get-go. Would have slid a lot easier. Oh, I removed the wrong zip tie. Whoops. There we go. See, that's sliding much easier. I'm such a doofus. Okay, note to self, remove more zip ties because you can zip tie it back. But you want to slide it down to where the moss meets the moss, and it's pretty good. And so you can kind of see the back here where it's open. And I'm basically just going to zip tie this shut around the pole is all I'm going to do. Some people zip tie the top of the pole to the bottom of the pole, but as long as you zip tie it around and it's pretty snug, oh my goodness, crow, then I don't have to zip tie the two poles together. I think it really just depends on like what you prefer. Yeah, I was worried it would be kind of unsteady just because the base is plastic. So I'm glad I only went with a 2-foot extension because normally the wire is pretty sturdy. I just didn't want to make it too tall. So I'm just putting a zip tie here and oh my goodness, dude, chill. And then just pull it tight so it closes it. And then I'll do that in several spots. So hot in my plant room today. I didn't feel like filming in there, so I figured out here would be relaxing and peaceful. And now we have this huge crow just just chirping away. I extended my Monstera Adansonii, and I can show you that one in my plant room because it is a lot more steady. And I'm zip tying underneath, so I'm going like underneath the moss, underneath the stake, and then back to the other side to zip tie it around the moss or around the stake. Some people zip tie the two poles together, like here and here, and connect and zip tie, but I don't really feel a need to do that. I mean, it's pretty secured. And definitely not as sturdy as I would like for a moss pole, but it's gonna have to do. I'm actually really impressed that I was able to chop this plant and transition it onto metal since it is coming from a plastic pole, you know. I don't think I've really seen extensions done like that. It was a little hard to zip tie the pole behind the stake, so technically I should have zip tied it, the pole closed and then zip tie it to the stake. But it's fine, I'm not gonna undo the entire thing. It'll work for now. And then I can always redo the zip ties later. Once I go to chop and extend this again, I'll probably remove the stake, and at that point I can fix this zip tie. So it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as it seems steady, you know, and it's closed shut for the most part. And then I'm just gonna cut off all the excess. Just like that, you see? Plastic base. It's gonna do for now. So pretty. I just watered it today because it was getting kind of droopy. It's hard to water this plant since, you know, it is a weird extension. And sometimes I'm not that good about keeping my base watered because I've been getting so used to keeping the pole part watered that I forget that not enough of it goes down to the soil sometimes, so then my soil is drying out. So yeah, let me put her back and then I will show you my other pole that I extended recently too. All right, I just brought her back in and look at how tall it is now. This is my Monstera Adansonii right here, and this one is all metal and I extended it all the way. It's my tallest pole now. It is so steady. I can take this thing and lift it up with my hand. I can lay it down, it's steady, it's not going anywhere. And then once this one reaches the top, I am not gonna extend anymore. I'm gonna chop and get rid of that plastic base and then do another pole extension on top. Thank you guys for watching this moss pole extension thing. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. And yeah, I honestly cannot wait for more growth. I will make sure to link my moss pole playlist. I have a whole playlist dedicated to all of my moss pole content. I will link it down below. And I am going to film a tutorial on how I make my wire poles once I do make more. I am going to film it and update my tutorial because my plastic tutorial is really old, and it was like when I first started my channel, and yeah, it needs to be upgraded. I'm excited to do another chop and extend. I'm definitely going to film it for my channel the next time I chop one, and that's going to be my marble queen. Where'd it go? This way. No, yeah, my marble queen is going to be the next chop and extend, and I'll definitely film that for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about moss poles, extensions, or anything, definitely let me know down below. I'll be happy to help the best I can. I have a care video in that playlist too that goes into more details about like my care for my poles, but definitely let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all again very soon.